This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Bill, end of October. How you doing? What's new?
I don't like that it's week 9. It's the fastest regular season on the planet Earth, and it goes faster and faster every year. And I'm not happy about that part, but I'm happy about the entertainment level. It's been a good year.
It has been. Well, hey, it's okay. Next week we finally get the rankings that matter, the college football playoff poll. So, I mean, at least there's that. I know you're more of a BCS guy than the poll, but you know the direction this sport has gone in. So let's see. Georgia and Florida this weekend, and of course there's another big one in the conference with Tennessee. We're going to be tested by Kentucky at Neyland Stadium. What do you make of Kentucky and Tennessee? Because Kentucky kind of, I felt like they showed a little bit last week with that win over Mississippi State. They'd slipped a couple games in a row. Are they any sort of threat to Hendon Hooker and that high-flying Tennessee offense?
If they can maintain their physicality, Chris Rodriguez, who's a fantastic back, can occupy the ball. And obviously we know Will Levis is a good quarterback, and it can't get points. That game can't start running up through the 20s and on for Kentucky to win. And they're going to need Tennessee to get bogged down offensively, and that really hadn't happened yet against anybody. That's the formula, and it's possible. It's probably not likely. Could it be a good game for a half? I think so. I mean, it probably could be. Got to remember Tennessee's getting Cedric Tillman back.
Right.
And even though the Hyatt kid's playing as well as any receiver on the planet Earth right now, Tillman's considered a better player. And he hadn't even been playing, so that'll be interesting, too.
Well, you got the other one that really looks like it could be an interesting game is Florida-Georgia, because the Georgia offense has been a little bit shaky of late. Whatever happens against Vanderbilt, fine. But, you go back a couple weeks ago, and they barely beat Missouri on the road. Florida's had a real up-and-down sort of a season. Georgia's a 22.5-point favorite, so Vegas isn't giving Florida any chance. But with a quarterback like Anthony Richardson, maybe anything can happen. What's your opinion?
I'll give you the formula. Anthony Richardson is going to have his Cam Newton, Vince Young, Matt Jones kind of game, Superman cape kind of game for them to have a chance. And he runs hot and cold. Now, he's a fantastic athlete. I'm not trying to compare him to those names, including Matt there, but he can be a dominant player. He's just not consistent. They're going to need that. He can't turn the spigot off for them to have a fighting chance. In personnel, guys, they're outmanned. I mean, they've been out-recruited by Georgia for, it feels like a century now, and it's pretty significant. So the 22 points might be a stretch, but Georgia is significantly better than Florida.
Hey, Bill, can I ask you, outside the SEC, that Ohio State-Penn State game, what are your thoughts on that game? Can Penn State beat Ohio State? Have they really beaten anybody that shows you that they can hang with Ohio State this year? They get them at home.
The Michigan game where they got bullied to the tune of 418 rushing yards, cast it down. Now, Michigan and Ohio State don't go by the same blueprint. Obviously, Ohio State's a high-flying quarterback, 4 receivers that are all NFL guys.
Yeah, they're
2
fun
really
to watch.
Good running. Oh, it's incredible. Yeah, it's incredible. It's at Penn State. It's not a whiteout game. I mean, they're going to need a word I use a lot on my shows. They're going to need a lot of benevolence. I mean, Ohio State's going to have to be bumbling around, uncharacteristic mistakes to give. If they can stay in that game for a half and then slow it down some and get into the third quarter, that is one of the most dynamic fan bases on the planet Earth. If they can get all of that in a magic, bottle, maybe they will have a chance. Maybe.
I'm a James Franklin fan. Just anybody who can win at Vanderbilt and what he does, I like the way he goes about it, though.
Yeah, he's good. He's probably as good a salesperson as there is out there. And he's also very good at keeping his name out there for other jobs. I've known James since he was here. And, no, he did a fantastic job. If you're going to win 9 games back-to-back at Vanderbilt,
Right.
There's got to be some kind of, and his reward is he got his dream job, which is the Penn State job. But that's magical doing that.
Well, I keep hearing there's going to be a couple open jobs in the SEC pretty soon. I don't know if they're going to get rid of Jimbo, but it sounds like there's some real discord in that locker room with the young guys against the old guys. Had how many? Half a dozen, if not more, suspensions off of this incoming recruiting class. They had the 3 that came up earlier this week. There were suspensions before the season started, too. And it's all true freshmen from this heralded recruiting class, which felt like the main reason that they were ranked 6th anyway. And obviously right now they're having trouble, putting up 6 points, for crying out loud. What the heck is going on in College Station?
On the team on the field, it's their offense. Their defense is pretty salty. Their offense is they don't have an identity. They really don't have a blueprint that this is what we do. We're going to do it, and we're going to win with it. They don't have that. They haven't found that. Quarterback play has been shaky at best, and they got a 5-star kid. He's probably not ready. He's their future quarterback sitting there. Got some reps in that last game. But, okay, if you bring in an entitled group of players, 2010 Florida team, this had that happen too. The veterans and the freshmen, the veterans took great offense in 2010 on that Gator team coming off a national championship in 08 and nearly won in 09, and all these high-name recruits coming in thinking, where's my job? I'm taking somebody, and that caused a lot of problems. Now, I don't know if that's exactly what's going on at A&M, but you can pay people now, as we all know. And these guys all got a whole lot of money, and they've been told probably for 10 years how good they are, and they get there, and I think they just expected everything to go like it went in high school, and that's not happening. And the next thing you need to be looking out for is the transfer portal. Because when you have umbrage like this, when you have players this disgruntled, you got a locker room that does appear that it's in a big mess and shambles. That's going to be interesting because there's a whole lot of kids on that recruiting class that I'm sure, guys, we all know you're not supposed to, but they're already being poached. I can promise you that.
Well, and they're looking to get into the SEC, don't you think, Matt? If they sign it at A&M, like they want to play in the SEC, you're going to see these guys going to other schools in this conference.
I would think.
And speaking of, we were talking earlier about Dion in a Power 5 job. What are your thoughts? Like as a school, you got to think he's going to bring in an OC and a DC, but to be the head of your school to get these kids, do you see a Power 5 job in his future?
At some point,
right?
It'd be interesting. Georgia Tech is a place where it's hard to get players, and but at the same time, you're geographically as advantaged as any football school on this earth. You literally are. You could not be in a better location in the heart of Atlanta. And players, Georgia can take their 25, 30 every year, and there's another million left. Now, I'm not saying they get them all, but Dion's the kind of guy that could recruit, where Georgia Tech's not able to do that. The 1990 Bobby Ross team's not coming back. That tied Colorado for the championship that year. They're light years away from that. You need a dynamic guy who could come in there and convince recruits that would never consider you because it's Deion Sanders. Now, I don't know what they're thinking. Brent Key's been doing a good job. He's the interim. He's a Georgia Tech guy. He won several games until they lost the other night to Virginia. I'm not sure what they're doing. Got to remember, they also fired their AD. At the same time, they fired Jeff Collins. It's kind of a mess there, too.
I could see Georgia Tech in that situation because, they're second fiddle in that state, but the other school is not in their league.
And their campus, you seen their campus? It's just kind of downtown, like it's no campus really, unless it's changed a little bit. That's one thing I wonder.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Nobody's as Atlanta as Dion when it comes to, being an
Oh, my goodness, right?
It's
almost as good as Florida State.
Yeah. Hey,
no
Auburn.
question.
You mentioned the transfer portal. There was another guy, another defender. I think he's a redshirt freshman that he's not in the portal yet, but he left the team. Brian Harsin mentioned, I think, 2 guys yesterday at his press conference, or 2 days ago, that also are no longer on the team. They've lost half of last year's recruiting class. And apparently he's telling players, look, you either get in the portal or you're playing games for us. And you're not requesting any red shirts. It sounds a little bit like players versus coach going over at Auburn, too.
That's been over for a while, and I really don't have a problem with them not holding a press conference and stating the obvious. There's really no advantage in their case to doing that. And somebody that you would want isn't available right now. You could be talking to their agent right now, but I'll tell you what I would do. And I don't know why he's still radioactive, but I'd go after Hugh Freeze. You got to have, first of all, Hugh Freeze knows how to beat Alabama, did it back-to-back years at Ole Miss. He's a dynamic recruiter, and he's very good on the field when you talk in X's and O's. Not all coaches can do that. Some are good recruiters, some are good developers. Very few have all those skill sets. He has them all. And I don't know if the SEC has some private word where don't bring him back into the league. I don't think so anymore. But you need somebody dynamic, and that is Hugh Freeze. And he's not afraid of the SEC West. And, guys, Auburn's a really good job. You need the right leadership, but Auburn is a very good job. And if they get that hire right, then there's another big problem in the West for everybody.
Auburn's a weird job. I mean, maybe it is a good job, too, not to take away from the talent that's around there and you close as you are to Georgia. And I mean, they have the tradition, too, of playing for championships and winning them as well. But, man, it's a weird job. And, I mean, they haven't even hired an athletic director now. And sometimes you don't even feel that the athletic director really makes the decisions as far as, you know, who's coaching and how they're going to run things. That's why, to me, it's a weird job as well as being a good job. It's like it's a real crapshoot.
Hugh Freeze makes $3 million at Liberty. He's comfortable, and his wife's happy there, and we all know that's important. But if Auburn comes, he's gone. I mean, you crawl on your belly through glass to get that job. And now the previous AD Green did not like Hugh Freeze. So anytime that came up prior, he was a person to veto it. And there is a theory that that's one of several reasons why they got rid of it. Now, again, I'm not predicting that they're going to go get or take Hugh Freeze. I don't know that. But to me, that would be your smartest. You can't just go get the next guy who's won some games somewhere else. That's not good enough.
Bill, what do we got? World Series coming up. We're not going to get you again until next week. Who you got? I got Philadelphia. It looks like everybody's with Houston, and they're over the cheating scandal. Where do you stand with on this World Series coming up?
Well, I'm a college baseball guy, so if you asked me, I probably wouldn't even have told you who's in it. And I'm a Dodger guy, too, but I don't keep up with them. They're out. My wife's from Houston, so she would probably shoot me in the head if she heard that I picked the other team. So I got to go with the cheating Astros. Fair enough.
Well, and I know you're a family man, Bill, so you know how to keep the most important person in that person.
I'll be looking for a place around Thanksgiving if I go the other way. So.
Football is back, and BetOnline remains your number one source for all your football betting needs this season. You'll find the latest odds, matchup info, player news, and game trends. And as your continued source for all sports wagering info, BetOnline features live betting, free contests, live scores, and giveaways all season long. Always the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports and events like MLB, MMA, tennis, boxing, and even golf. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive your 100% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. That's BLEAV. Bet Online, where the game starts.